Hygies, as we discussed before, that in terms of perfecting quantum technology, we really need a blood sample from a special human, which is the discussion of the before, that the blood sample in need is a special human, as we have described before, based on QS al Baqarah verse 30. And here we discuss scientifically and accurately based on the data we found from the thinking of scientists in the futuritic era, especially in the present era. It is possible that this theory has not been widely realized, but this is the fact. Okay, basically before we discuss why it has to be a blood sample from a special human, before you have to know basically that controls every ethnicity of individual life is only to members of his body. That is reason of brain and conscience that transmitting data between the two through Aqidah, which is the result of the process of synchronization. Transmitting is directly spread again data through blood cells that exist in all members of our body other than reason of brain and conscience, and not only that with blood cells, also our other limbs are always active, transmitting data to brain to process based on performance of the pattern of our Aqidah. That is strengthened by the extension of our conscience is like what the results of the manager directly transmittable again to other limbs. So, do you know why most elite assassins, psychopaths, and pros are no longer able to feel pain in his injured body? This is the answer: because the influence of data transmitting through the blood cells that have been mixed with external data. In our brain neurons extension, imputation data states that the taste is not valid to be expressed externally by our external body. So, the conclusion is that blood cells are a route that is used in our bodies to deliver data between members of the body, with our minds or brains are processed based on our conscience, which is supported by the extension of our Aqidah to God and the universe. So, why should a blood sample? Because quantum requires data extension connection with the center of the universe contained in a set of blood cells for the perfection of the performance procedure. Well, the question arises, and the meaning of Aqidah is what, while most scientists know the data, if it is Aqidah to manage the data of the belief of the nobility and love of each individual towards an object, is not it functional from the conscience? Then the answer is conscience is only applicable to fellow creations of God or the God of the universe, while Aqidah is for God between man and God, with a special path that God wants between the infinite cycles of natural energy. Therefore, do not ever play if it deals with the value of Aqidah, because the risk is really very fatal.